Alright, don't have a catchy intro this week because no major events happened in my country, so let's just get right into it. My name is Inky, I'm a digital artist, I draw characters, D&D characters to be specific, and every year since 2018 I've participated in Art Fight, the art trading game. This year, however, I'm cooking up something fancy and I'm swapping out all of my old references for newfangled references with turnarounds and props and annotations. So, come along in my reference crafting journey. Every week I draw one of these, every week I post a video for one of these in which I tell you about the character. This week's character is Blair. Blair got a full campaign, so Blair has a lot going on. I will be tackling her design by design. I've done 6 designs. She's got more of them, but Artfight has a 6 image limit, and honestly, this was already a lot of work, so 6 designs it is. This is Blair number 1. Blair number 1 serves me perfectly to explain the conceit of the campaign, because this is Blair's school uniform. It's a school campaign. She goes to magic school. It's like that one book, except not made by a TERF. Blair is a wizard, and she actually started out as a conjuration wizard, but she didn't really like it. Blair is blind and likes lizards, snakes, dragons, and other scaled creatures. So when she heard that there's a spell that lets you cast your very own little scaly friend and have them be usable as a sensory input, she figured she could cast herself a friend that could see, and then she could borrow their sensory to see. Think of it less as a magical bypass to her disability and more like a disability aid, because she's aware that if the snake wants to take a nap or is distracted, she's not going to actually be able to see or pick what she sees. And in this reference, she is dressed exactly like the DM described the uniforms to look. It's like a plain shirt, school sweater, except Blair is like northern. She's from Sorrel. Sorrel plug here. These are the Sorrel videos. She comes from a kingdom that's really cold, so she's like, nuh-uh, it's too hot to wear a sweater or like a cardigan or something. I'm gonna tie it around my waist. And then she adds a blindfold because she's self-conscious. She's like, oh no, my eyes don't like always behave as intended. And sometimes people tell me that I give them like a very unsettling stare, so I just cover that up. She's like that about it. She's really self-conscious. She exists in the realm of shame, really. And then the other cool, gnarly thing of note of this design is that she's got nice earrings and a nice cane because her dad's a jeweler, so he made them for her. He's such a girl dad, honestly. And then there's Clay. Clay is the 6-legged cat. It's short for Claymore, because every single creature Blair befriends, adopts, or summons is named after a weapon. So in the reference, there's Blade, the snake, Clay, Claymore, the cat, and then next reference you're going to see Morningstar. These are the 3 main ones, so they're the ones that get to be on the rev sheet, but there's also Caltrop the spider, Pike the unseen servant, Halberd the horse, Little Lance the auxiliary familiar, Rapier the auxiliary familiar, and Big Lance the dragon summon. Blair is very normal about everything in her life, guys. She wasn't even a bladesinger at this point. It's entirely coincidental. She actually became a bladesinger because she was failing her combat classes. Partially because she'd never held a weapon before. Partially because her dad was very afraid of letting her be in danger. Partially because the professor had beef with her. Because, you remember Beatrice from the hit Beatrice video? Yeah, you remember the part where I said she was imperialist and aided the military in taking over other kingdoms? Yeah, he was from one of those. So he had a bone to pick with Beatrice. And Blair looks a fair amount like her aunt, so there's that. He is fine. They wound up making it up. They wound up becoming, like, fine with each other. It's chill. He winds up being extremely peepaw-coded, actually. But you might be wondering, Inky, you said she was failing her combat classes. That hardly feels conducive to, the sword wizard class. And you, my dear viewer, get a cookie for paying attention to me. Thank you very much. But you are right. That is because another professor noticed that she was getting her ass, like, completely handed to her in combat class. And he was like, You realize another one of your professors is, like, a trained sword fighter, right? And Blair's like, no, she's a wizard. And he's like, one can be both, Blair. Do you want me to ask her if she would help you with your combat class? And Blair was like, maybe because Blair hates asking for help. But she did get help, and this very nice lady taught her how to use a sword. And she was actually impressed. She was like, what the fuck? You're actually, like, good at this, Blair. And Blair was like, yeah, it turns out when I'm not being yelled at and afraid, I do nicely. And the woman is quite frankly impressed enough that she's like, Blair, do you want to learn how to do wizard magic for sword fighting instead of just regular sword fighting? And she was like, can I? My dad is gonna kill me, but yes, maybe. Yes. So she wound up getting trained in how to do blade singing, and she really liked it. Here's that design for all of that. I've already described her outfit. Moving on to the next one. The next Blair outfit is Blair at the end of the year when she's achieved her character arc. So she's got the same uniform, but she has lost all fear in being, like, noticed and seen. Because Blair got bullied, by the way. Blair got incredibly bullied. Blair got the crap beaten out of her a couple times by this one dude. He wound up dying, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that eventually. Blair got super mega turbo bullied, and she's come out of the other side after, like, an extended episode of misanthropy, which we will also get to later. She's come out of the other side happier and healthier. During this period, a lot of things happened. So she got a girlfriend, for one. She got a job for another. She learned to speak to cats and to birds, but, like, not the spell, not speak with animals. One of her professors is a bird keeper, and he insists that the birds chirp in certain ways for certain things, to the point where you can almost decipher it like a language, except it's also kind of, like, mood and tonal based. And Blair's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you should listen to the birds a lot and see if you pick up on anything. And Blair, being the absolute little freak that she is, does do that. And she's like, yeah, no, actually, I can make out, like, enough things through both inference and, like, the tones of the chirping and the way that they chirp certain ways for certain things. And now she speaks bird. Cat, she learned to speak organically through keeping clay. What else did she get up to? She got morning. It's short for Morning Star. She is literally baby. Blair got a dragon egg. More on how she obtained the dragon egg later. But Blair got a dragon egg, and she kept it nice and warm, and Morning hatched out of it. Little Morning Star. I love her. And she's like a little toddler. She very quickly learned to babble, so she just goes ba 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 the entire time. She's very lovely. She can barely walk. There's, like, a little bit between this design and the other design where Blair gets bullied so hard that she becomes a misanthrope, and she goes off and makes friends with a bunch of chromatic dragons. For the people that don't really do D&D, chromatic dragons are, like, the evil ones. Metallic dragons are the nice ones. So she makes friends with an evil dragon, and then she also slayed a couple dragons. It was a very turbulent time in her life. She made friends with one of them, and she has remained friends with him, actually. He sees her like a helpless little wormling, so he's actually inclined to be like, no, that one's one of mine. Nobody messes with her. So when Blair's girlfriend contacts him with like, hey, there's this one guy that's been bothering Blair, the dragon goes ahead and he's like, okay, come at me, bruh. And the other guy that's bullying Blair, so he wants to pretend that he's a good Samaritan, so he's like, I will get rid of the dragons of the valley because they pose a threat. And the dragon just kills him. The school has, like, healers and resurrection experts, but the dragon's like, no, he's been messing with my girl. So he eats the guy, so they have no corpse to revive. Oh, God. I asked you to put a pin in mourning. We're going to take that pin off, and we're going to take this guy's pin off as well. But first, let's review this outfit. Same outfit as the last time, but you might have noticed that Blair got a little bit more toned and a slightly bit thicker on the arms and legs. She's been working out to be a cool sword fighter lady. She's an agility first build, so it's like dexterity based rather than strength based. So she's not that big, but she's still got like toned and stuff. And then I gave her a little cat pin on her school outfit because she's not afraid to showcase her weird hobbies like keeping six-legged cats and talking to them. She got a haircut. That was one of the things she did. She was like, I need to reinvent myself, and I actually care about looking nice right about now. So she got over her misanthropy, and she got a haircut, and she got a cute belt that's a belt of strength. of the highest caliber. It gives her a strength of 22. Now let's move on to the third design, because we're going to take both of those pins off together. You remember the guy that got completely murked by the dragon? Yeah, he used to have a job working for a drow lady as like a spell for hire for her. He got completely yoinked, and the next most promising combatant in the school was probably not Blair, honestly, but Blair is a rising star, and she'd previously caught the interest of a drow noblewoman, because it's a long convoluted story, but her daughter unleashed like a demon thing on the school, and it was scaring Blair's cat, so Blair kicked its ass. Also, it was getting students, but they were the students making fun of Blair, so she didn't care. So you might remember, if you've seen the Percy video court now, that I said Perclette, I love Perclette, introduced herself by picking Blair up and calling her like worthless and dim-witted. Yeah, this is that. For the ladies, gentlemen, and gentlefolk in the audience that don't know my beloved NPC of choice, this is Perclette Hazelkind. She's awful and I love her, except she's not actually awful. She's secretly very sad. After her employee gets completely yoinked by a dragon, she's like, oh, that's unfortunate. I needed that guy. I guess I could hire the weird little freak girl. She did prove to be, like, shockingly combat capable. So Perclette offers Blair a hefty payment for being her employee, and also she will, like, pay her tuition fees. I would crack a joke about the pervasiveness of student loans and how they're inescapable even in fiction, but in spite of my accent, I'm not actually American. I don't think I get to crack a joke about student loans when university in Spain costs like 2,000 euro. I don't think it's fair. Tuition fees are real in Conjurabelle, though, so Blair does get hers hand wave away. And that's that, until she actually realizes that her boss is not actually mean. She's just really sad and pathetic. And they become friends. She's like, hey, something on your mind? And Blair's like, no. I was like, I can kind of tell that there is, though. You want to talk about it? You don't have to. And Piglet's like, maybe. And it was a very sad lady. Very sad lady. I've already gone at length about how sad she is, and I haven't even touched her dysfunctional relationship with her daughter, which Blair is trying to help her mend. I much fear that to get to Morningstar, though, to take that pin off the board, I need to end my Perclette tangent and talk about the enemy faction of drow that Blair is working against. They're like a drow, but morally more bankrupt than the already morally bankrupt Perclette. They, like, experiment on baby dragons and steal dragon eggs. Deep dragons are not evil, by the way. They're not chromatic or anything. They're genuinely just some guys, and they're out here stealing their babies. There's this one dragon NPC that they've experimented on that Blair rescues. That's still ongoing because Blair's campaign isn't over, and Blair's trying to help that one. By this point, Perclette and Blair are already kind of buddies, and Blair's birthday's coming up, and Perclette has one of her groups of agents intercept a enemy convoy, and they're carrying a dragon egg. And she's like, "Oh, perfect! That's gonna be a great birthday gift because this kid's obsessed with dragons." And Blair's like, "Oh, a live dragon egg! I wonder if I can make it hatch." And she did, and that's how we got to morning. And then the black leather jacket that she's wearing is like deep underdark cow leather. Her boss gave it to her. It doubles as leather armor for her to work in, and it's also enchanted, so it's +1 studded leather, actually. Here's a review of the outfit. It's supposed to make her look a little more intimidating, a little more imposing. It's all black, it's quite sturdy. Her boss knows she's obsessed with dragons, so she got like scales engraved onto the leather. It's quite cute. Same goes for the gloves. The boots are a completely different story that I don't think I currently have time for because we're already going on 15 minutes. But that's the outfit. The next outfit is this outfit, and I don't have a lot to say about it. It's her design from before the campaign, so like her first design before she went to school, before she got the uniform. I'm just going to put the image on top of the speed frame for this one and just do the review as the speed paint goes, because I don't have a lot more to say. It's quite an awkward little thing. She's not quite sure if she's dressed for cold outfit like she's used to or warm outfit because she's going down south. So she's got the off-the-shoulder top because, oh no, I'm going to be hot. I'm going to overheat. But at the same time, she's used to wearing these thicker winter pants. And she's still got her greatcoat tied to her waist. Everybody in Zero owns a nice greatcoat. I've been over this in the Narn video. That's her greatcoat, and she doesn't quite want to take it off because it's familiar to her. And then she's got the snow boots, even though it's not really snowing where she's going until, like, in the middle of the winter. But who cares? She's wearing snow boots. The next design is the obligatory formal wear design because, like, my DM likes indulging me and I love formal wear sessions, so I always get at least one of them per campaign. This is that, and it's the formal. It's like the winter dance at her school. Blair was thinking of not going because everybody hates her and treats her like crap, but turns out that there's this other girl who has like a massive complex because everybody likes her brother in both senses of the word. Everybody thinks that her brother's really good and does really well in class and is really cool, and also they like him, like romantically. So this girl, Esden, and Blair decide, actually, what if we take each other to the formal and then we use the other one to make everybody jealous? If you take me, I can prove that not everybody likes my brother over me. And if you take me, I can prove that I'm, like, liked and enjoyable and not always bullyable. And they start planning for that, except Esden's like, oh no, okay, turns out, like, most of the time we've been planning, I've actually secretly been into you. Blair can't quite believe it because it sounds like bull to her, who would like her, but hey, she likes girls and she's got to admit Esden is really pretty. The only problem is that she's closeted. So they become secret girlfriends for a while, and Blair's like, we can come out for the formal, because I was planning on taking you to the formal anyway. I was going to have that be, like, the moment in which it is public that I like girls. That doesn't happen. They get found out before that because they see Esden leaving her room really late at night or something. Worth pointing out that they are both 19 years of age. But yeah, this is the suit she wears to the formal. They've got like a blue and red girlfriend thing going on. Blair wears a blue suit. It's got armor elements because she's really getting into that like sword fighter, combat ready type of thing. It makes her feel a little more confident. And then Esden wears a very pretty red dress. They're like red and blue girlfriends. They're also sun and moon girlfriends. They're also like cat and dog girlfriends. I like them. And then the last outfit is Tournament Arc Blair. You remember that teacher that taught her how to use a sword? Yeah, she's been, like, telling everybody else on staff about how cool Blair is and how good Blair is at fighting. She won't shut up about it. So when it comes time to do a, like, quaterannual tournament, they're like, we were gonna tell this, like, guy everybody likes to go, but he's a fine combatant, but if Blair is anywhere as good as this woman says, she might be the better pick. So they're like, Blair, you wanna, like, go? And Blair's like, I have severe social anxiety, but I did just win 2 smaller, like, hobbyist tournaments, and it made me feel really good, and I do genuinely enjoy myself in a fight, so yes. So Blair gets her tailor. Blair has a tailor, by the way, because, oh boy, the tailor tangent. In one of her missions out and about working for Paraclet, she runs into this woman who's been, like, tossed off a cliff and her legs are broken and infected. And she's like, what the fuck? Okay, let me perform first aid on this woman. And then she's like, no, my son, you've got to go get my son. And then Blair finds and rescues her son, but this woman's like, her legs are infected, she's dying. So Blair takes her to a temple, and she asks the priest to, like, can you please heal her? And he has enough magic to heal one of her legs. And the other one isn't healed, and it's infected, and it's getting this woman, and they wind up amputating her leg to save her life. And Blair winds up letting her stay. She gets Paraclet's permission to let her stay at her city as a refugee, and she's a tailor also. So that's how Blair got a tailor, and she hires the tailor to make her an outfit for the tournament. This is the outfit she's wearing for the tournament. Now, the school doesn't actually expect her to win the tournament, because that would be crazy, because it's, like, international, and, like, prodigies go. But she's going to the tournament, and she's expected to place, like, decently enough. So she goes on to the tournament, and she fucking wins the whole thing because Blair Bai is just goated like that. I love playing bladesingers, guys. She winds up becoming quite a press darling, even though it makes her really tired and really shaky afterwards. The press love her because she kind of winds up developing this sort of character she plays when she's out and about in the arena. And it makes her seem a lot more confident and a lot more charming than she actually is. And also she is sent with the professor that used to hate her guts as her chaperone. He's nice to her now. He's like, he knows the secret entrance to the arena so that she can go in without having to go through the front door where it's very noisy and she gets overwhelmed really easily. It all comes full circle. This is the design. I drew it more or less like my DM described it. She gets nice boots, she gets pants, he didn't really specify about that. And she gets like a nice gambeson and some sashes. And they flow really nicely when she moves about because she has very like agile fighting style. That's all. This is the part where I do all of the stuff I usually do. So like leave me a like, a comment, and subscribe if you like it. I will do more. There will be another one next week. There will be another one for many weeks, in fact. I take art commissions, so you can commission me. You can get a drawing. You can get a rough sheet. You can leave me a tip if you just randomly think that this is worth your money. Honestly, mostly just like, if you think your friend might like this, maybe send it to them. Leave a comment or something.